Hello dear students, welcome to the MentorsHut Pulse series. This is a beautiful series that we have designed in which we will be giving you handwritten notes, and along with the handwritten notes we will also be giving you the video lectures for each chapter. Now this series have been designed mainly to give you that personal touch. See, आप जब भी कोई printed material पढ़ते हैं, whenever you read any printed material, that gives you a very tacky feeling कि कहीं से copy paste होगा and what kind of effort would have gone into it. But when something is handwritten, that means multiple sources were read, then the crux was created, and from that we have provided these last minute notes to this UPSC aspirants who are serious about the prelims of 2025. My name is Karuna Mishra and I'm the faculty for environment and ecology for this particular series. I have an experience of nearly 7 years now of training, teaching UPSC aspirants, and I hope I can help you with this subject. But मुद्दा आता है कि how exactly do you prepare environment and ecology? देखिए, in the recent years, if you notice, environment and ecology questions have increased many-fold. You are getting questions more than 20 also sometimes. 22 was the highest number of questions in a year that were asked only from environment and ecology. What does it tell you? पहली चीज, after the prelims of UPSC Civil Services and Indian Forest Services were merged, earlier there used to be separate. उसके बाद से the weightage for environment, agriculture related questions have increased. Second, environment is a very harfan maula type of a subject. Now, when we are doing any technical subject, we know what is the kind of approach. We need to know the process, and then we need to know the application. When we are doing anything which is related to humanities, we know that it has a perspective. There has to be a proper storyline around it. Why, if let us say I'm doing polity, why a certain act was enacted and why certain provisions were given in the constitution, etc. But when it comes to environment, the approach has to be different. Whenever I come across students, they ask me, ma'am, what exactly is the philosophy of this particular subject? And I always say the philosophy of environment is to feel environment. You have to be an empathetic person in order to score well in this particular subject. What does it mean? See, दो तीन दिक्कतें आती हैं whenever students are preparing for environment and ecology. One common area that they find particularly struggling is the species part. How do we remember all the species? They, sometimes they ask about insects, sometimes they ask about frogs, then they say whether they are poisonous or not. How am I going to mug up all of them? You have to understand one thing, that whenever such questions you come across, these are tricky questions not only for you, but for others as well. How do you prepare them? Whenever you're reading the Hindu, whenever you're reading any magazine, do you notice whether it is Indian Express newspaper or Down to Earth magazine or any other magazine? Do you express there are these small blocks in which different species are highlighted, their pictures are shown, and below that either 2-3 things will be written. First, how that species is under threat, and being under threat, they might face extinction if their conservation is not done. Second, what is the crucial role of that species in an ecosystem? And third is that species causing trouble? Yes, it is not always that every species is good for the ecosystem. Sometimes there are invasive species also which are kind of destroying the ecosystem. So whenever you do your current affairs reading, your newspaper reading, you have to keep 3 things in mind. Whenever any species is in news, is it because it is a threat? And I am placing in the order of priority for examination. Then its crucial role. And third, is it threatened? Now see, threatened is easier to identify because you have the red data book, you have the threatened, vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered. These are the lists which are provided. These are the 2 areas which you have to do a little extra hard work to identify. Now, apart from this, very important part is getting your basics right. For the environment and ecology, the basics are very, very important. For example, until and unless you do not have a clarity on the basics of ecology concept, the basics of ecosystems clear, you will be in no position to do the questions which are from the current affairs, which are from something such as the mangrove ecosystem, why India is expanding the mangroves, what is their role, etc. So it is generally assumed, there is a common mistake which students do, that this is a current affairs oriented subject. I am afraid that is not the case. For environment and ecology to work out for you, to help you clear the prelims, you have to understand it is not only current affairs. Don't assume that by last minute reading of some 6-month and 1-yearly current affairs, you will be able to crack it. No, you have to keep your basics very strong. The themes might be from the current, but until and unless your basics, their interconnection is not clear, you will be in no position to clear this paper. So we have to do 2-3 things. We need to understand the basics very well. That will be the job that I will be doing with this series with you, and I will time to time also tell you the important current affairs themes which are in news, which are associated with these basic concepts. So yes, this is the problem area which students face. This is from where you have to start, and the current affairs have to be used very well. And current affairs especially help you identify 2-3 themes in the environment. The first and most important theme is pollution. Important species in news. And the different strategies or mitigation. Now, pollution is the main theme which has seen a lot of questions in the recent years, and pollution then results in climate change, global warming, and the whole UNFCCC, UNCCD, all the different conventions which are around that. With species, of course, you have the United Nations Convention on Biodiversity, you have CITES, you have IUCN which are working on it. So if I have identified these 3 themes from the current affairs, I go back to my basics to make sure that my basics are clear on this. I do not think that environment will be much of a trouble. Environment is a subject that you have to understand. I have to understand 2-3 things. I'll give you some example from the first theme, which is pollution. Ma'am, how do I know? See, air pollution is important, noise pollution is important, water pollution is important. Since I'm, in 6 standards, I'm reading these topics. You have to understand where India is investing. You have to understand what are the pain points of India. For example, India is doing a lot in making sure that the groundwater contamination is taken care of. India is an agricultural country. We have the highest population. It is not the glaciers or rivers better which are the major source of fresh water for India. Glaciers are number 1 source, but for majority of the Indians, it is the groundwater. And if the groundwater, gets contaminated, not only we will have the crisis for drinking water, we will be exposed to a lot of diseases. And this is highlighted in economic survey. This is highlighted in various reports time to time. Now, this is where I will identify it. Make sure that you are able to identify these things based on government's concerns, government's initiatives. Right? If government is showing too much concern around land degradation, you would have heard this, that Punjab and Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh might have soils which can convert into desert, which will become completely infertile. Suna hai na ye humne? To ye kya hai? What is this theme? This theme is land degradation. And therefore, you are getting questions on land degradation. Therefore, you are getting questions on contamination. Therefore, you are getting questions on pollutants. Then air pollution. Beta, air pollution to is such an important theme because you have a repeated question in mains as well. Prelims to chhodiye. Prelims mein you are also getting questions as the pollutants which are considered in the air quality index. आप समझ रहे हो कितना basic से तक पूछ रहे हैं वो. They do not even expect you to go much into the depth of it. So air pollution, why India is considering? We are the 3rd largest polluters. We are responsible very, to a great extent to the global warming. But India is saying we are a huge population. We cannot stop the development. We are taking measures. What are those measures? समझ में आ रही है ये बात? हमको क्या आइडेंटिफाई करना है? The main themes which are concerning India, themes which are concerning Indians. For example, in pollution, I have given you 3 themes. I have given you the theme of air pollution. I have given you the theme of land degradation, and from 3 years repeatedly mentioned in the economic survey is water pollution, within it the groundwater contamination. See, I have identified these are major themes. Ma'am, does it mean I do not need to do the other pollutions, light pollution, noise pollution? करना है ना, but उसमें हमको comparatively कम time invest करना होगा. You have to understand you have very limited time. How will you invest the same amount of time for every topic? You have to identify the topics where I have to invest more time. For example, with light pollution, yes, why am I creating the dark sky reserves? What is the importance of it? Yes, you can do that. For noise pollution, you can say that how the urban cities over the time are having people with more mental issues in terms of anxiety, depression, etc. Is it only because of the work life balance, or is it because we are constantly exposed to loud levels of noises that our brain does not get time to relax? समझो टॉपिक को, रटो मत टॉपिक को. If you'll try to mug up environment, you will never be able to score well in the environment. Understand the environment, the current affairs will easily start flowing in your own mind. Okay, this now makes sense. Why is India doing this? It makes sense. Then the next theme which kind of creates problem is biodiversity. And in the biodiversity, I have the species. And as I have said, in the biodiversity, you have to take care of three things. One, is any kind of species, whether plant, animal, etc., is causing trouble? Is any species a troublemaker? Simplify कर लो, आम आदमी की भाषा में बात करना शुरू करो. भैया तुम अच्छे हो, तुम बुरे हो इकोसिस्टम के लिए. अगर तुम बुरे हो तो तुम्हारे बारे में मुझे पहले पता होना चाहिए. अच्छा आदमी तो ठीक है, बुरे आदमी की जानकारी पहले होनी चाहिए इंसान को. सो सेम वे फॉर द स्पीसीज ऑल्सो, इफ एनी स्पीसीज इज अ ट्रबल मेकर, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, why the lakes of Kashmir are facing the eutrophication problem, are water hyacinth so bad, are the different varieties of fishes in the fresh water so bad for the ecosystem? They are literally eating away the entire biodiversity. They are responsible for the deterioration of biodiversity. तो सबसे पहले मैं क्या identify करूंगी? The troublemakers. Second, the species which are of utmost important or play a crucial role for the health of an ecosystem. I always give the example of elephant. Elephant क्यों important है ecosystems के लिए? Why do you think elephants are important? Neither they are predators, major predators. They are not carnivorous animals. Neither they are prey. इतना बड़ा है कि उसका शिकार नहीं हो सकता, राइट? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि एक शेर है उसने हाथी का शिकार किया और खा गया. ज्यादा से ज्यादा बच्चे का शिकार कर सकता है. So we know that it is neither a major predator and it is neither a prey. Then why elephants are so crucial? Why we are creating ecoducts? Why we are creating corridors? Why we are doing so much in order to conserve the elephant? So try and understand these species on which India is investing so much money. Not only India, different organizations, countries together, they are coming up. Vulture reintroduction program. We are reintroducing cheetahs in our forest. Why we are taking so much pain for different animals? Understand their crucial role rather than mugging up about elephant का gestation period क्या है. I understand where the problem comes. जब मैं previous year question पढ़ते हूँ, I come up with these queries from the students. अब बताइए मैम, ये भी पता करेंगे क्या कि 9 महीना या 12 महीना या 22 महीना? देखिए कई बार UPSC मजे लेता है आपके. UPSC also tries to check your presence of mind. So basically they are not expecting you to know the gestation period of elephant, but yes, because the pregnant elephants were dying on the railway track, this topic was discussed in the news and magazines. So the idea is to make newspapers and magazines a better source for you rather than a last minute revision material. Then the third part of biodiversity which I have to keep in mind in order to tackle this particular subject is that how it is helpful in maintaining the balance. For example, there are many animals which are declared as vermins, for which the farmers, the different people are asking whether we can kill them without getting punished. What are these animals doing? Or are they such a hazard to the ecosystem? Or why such an animal is getting so much conservation? Is it very, very vital for the ecosystem? So how they are maintaining the balance? So when we talk about crucial role, this is more from the niche point of view. We'll study that in our lectures as well. So what is their important role? But when we talk about the balance, their sheer number, how much number is good enough to maintain the balance of ecosystem. Why India is putting so much money in conservation of tigers? सोचा है कभी? ये मीम्स चलते हैं ना आपके इंस्टाग्राम पे कि बेटी बचाओ, बाइक के पीछे बेटी को बिठाओगे या टाइगर को बिठाओगे? बिल्कुल सही बात है. You need girls also, but you need tigers also. So keeping all that humor apart, you have to understand what is the most important crucial role of that animal, how it helps in maintaining the ecosystem, how it is going to ensure that we have the healthy balance, and how we will maintain a good biodiversity which will have a sustainable future for the next generation also. So हमको next generation का भी देखना है बेटा. The biodiversity, the ecosystems are so closely interlinked. You cannot even imagine how the a certain type of algae which grows in the ocean by the name of kelp forest or seaweeds has such an impact on the overall marine ecosystem and our nutrition and food security, especially in the coastal areas. So we will try to understand in our classes these nitty-gritties, these interconnections, and then prepare well for the environment and ecology. We will try to make environment and ecology rather than a factual subject, a subject that I am understanding, that I am able to, feel around, see around. As I said, the most important philosophy when it comes to environment is to be empathetic towards environment, to feel the pain of the environment, to feel why we have to cut down on microplastic, why we have to cut down on plastic pollution. When I was discussing pollution, I did not mention plastic pollution because that is a different theme altogether. That is the pollutants which remain in the environment for a very long time. They can be persistent organic, that means natural kind of pollutants, or the plastic pollutants in the form of microplastic, or even the heavy metals which do not go away, or they are not recycled in the environment for a very long time. In fact, we have kept a separate video for that. Now, when it comes to the rest of this particular subject, this is what the strategy is going to be. We will be decoding the entire syllabus. Each chapter will have a video lecture. Each video lecture will take you to the basics in detail. We are focusing a lot on the basics in this series. I would want to repeat that. We will make your basics strong. We will also have the PYQ trend. We will break up. I will also tell you time to time the kind of questions which have been asked from this topic previously. Then we will build your knowledge base by the Pulse video lectures, because you can see that when we talk to somebody, a two-way conversation is the best, but a one-way conversation can also work. It is like listening to a podcast about a topic. And as we know, podcasts are now being beneficial. Why not get the benefit of it? And then you have the topic wise questions. We will have the next series in which we will give you the questions from each topic, so that your foundation will be built, and all that the question practice will also be done. So this is the syllabus. The general issues on environment ecology, biodiversity and climate change that do not require subject specialization. I want to focus on the three areas, that is the concepts of ecology, that is your basics, biodiversity, climate change. Pollution comes within the biodiversity, climate change part, and you do not need to be an expert. This is a general studies paper. You have to have a generalist approach. Now this is, I have taken from the UPSC website also. This is how it is given. This is the last point which talks about the syllabus. Then talking about the analysis, how many questions have been asked. If you look at the number of questions which have been asked in the recent years, it has never been less than 10 questions, and 10 questions was also only in the year 2018. Every year you see an upward trend. You had as many as 17 questions in the year 2017. Then you had as many as 20 questions in the year 2022, and in the last year's paper you had 14 questions. And when we talk about how these questions were divided in the last 8 years, you find that 1/3 of the question paper is coming from biodiversity and conservation effort. So basically various species, various animals, various plants, how we are conserving them, what are the laws in order to make sure that the conservation effort are done. The next important theme is environmental pollution, as I have told you. Then after that you have ecosystem as the third theme. So if You go by this, you have number 1, number 2 and number 3 in the same order, and then you have the climate change mitigation, international conventions, national organization funds, etc. We have to understand, by analyzing the trend, we have also dedicated the number of lectures based on the areas where you have the maximum questions coming from. Now this is the same section wise weightage as you can see over the years. Though there was no question on ecosystem in 2024, there had been 6 questions in 2021 and then 2 questions in 2022. Environmental pollution had only 3 questions in 24 but had 5 questions in 22 and 2 questions in 2023. Biodiversity, that is a species related, is having an increasing trend in the number of questions. If you see, there was there were 3 questions in 2021, that was the least, but after that 6, 9, 7. So you see that over the time any one area might have more questions, might have less questions. Our job is to make sure that we are prepared for each section very well. Now there are 3 to 4 questions that I want to discuss with you in order to give you a little idea about what to expect from this paper. Now this is from 2024. 2024, they asked a question: the organisms cicada, frog hopper and pond skater are bird, fish, insect, reptiles. आप समझ रहे हो, ये typical current affairs का question. It is not only a tough question for you, it is a tough question for everyone. There will never be multi-statement questions for these type of topics in which they know the student does not have a lot of idea. I have also given you the link from where this question has been made. This is the magazine, and in the magazine they had cicada related issue, right? This magazine actually kind of gave you the emergence of cicada in 2024 that is going to rewire the ecosystem, and how in North America after 200 years this insect has started showing, it has come up, and this is kind of changing the ecosystem. It is changing the interaction among organisms and how it is playing a crucial role. These are very loud humming insects, बहुत तेज इनकी आवाज होती है. और इस पूरे क्वेश्चन पेपर में, the reason of showing you this is, in this entire question you did not need to have the knowledge of all 3. Only if you had the idea that cicada के ऊपर बार बार news articles आ रहे हैं, because the the people in the societies and the people in the colonies were putting up so much complaints, there was so much on the social media that how this particular insect is not letting people sleep. I could have solved this question. This is not a knowledge based question entirely. This is more of a presence of mind question, and are you reading your newspapers regularly or not? Another such questions that we'll discuss is this. Now this is from your understanding of India and India's strategy of taking care of climate change, global warming, reducing the carbon footprint. What does it say? It says that consider the following: battery storage, biomass generators, fuel cell, rooftop solar photovoltaic cell. These all are considered the distributed energy resources. मुझे पता तो हो क्या होती है distributed energy resource. ये थोड़ी current affairs है बच्चे. These are basics. I need to understand what is India's plan, how India plans to slowly move towards the green energy, how India is going to reduce its dependency on fossil fuel based energy. Then only I will be in a position to understand what is this. I know what is a battery storage, I know what is a biomass generator, right? These are biofuels. I know what are fuel cells, I also know what are photovoltaic units, but are they considered in the basket of the distributed energy? See, that is what I'm saying. So when I say what are government's initiative, how government plans to roll out its clean energy initiative, that is important. Then you have, yes, of course, consider the following: butterflies, fish, frogs. How many of the above have poisonous species among them? जो हमने बोला था ना कभी-कभी मजे लेता है यूपीएससी, ये वो है. How will you get to know that whether they have poisonous varieties or not? So yes, all of them have the poisonous variety. Yes, all of them are the part of the distributed energy resources. The reason I have taken these questions is that it was a mixed bag of current affairs along with the presence of mind and reading about different species from different resources. Do not rely on the last minute reading. Though we will help you with the current affairs and the basics with our different initiatives, I would still request you as a sincere teacher, do not stop reading the newspapers from time to time. If you don't get the time to reading the entire newspaper, at least go through the different pictures and different stories that they tell you about the different species. बेटा 9 सवाल अगर species से आ रहा है, आप समझ रहे हैं? 9 questions is a lot. In a question paper in which the cutoff is 50%. जिस क्वेश्चन पेपर में 110 के ऊपर कट ऑफ नहीं जा रही, उससे अगर 9-10 क्वेश्चन, दैट इज 20 मार्क्स, is coming only from keeping your eyes and ears open, what is the harm? The return on investment is actually very, very high. Now, this is the last question which we'll be discussing. That is about the persistent pollutants or the chemicals or material which remains. So, with reference to perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, which are PFAs, are used in making many consumer products. Consider the following statements. They are found to be widespread in drinking water bottle, food packaging. They are not easily degraded in the environment. Persistent exposure to PFAs can lead to bioaccumulation in animal bodies. Again, something which was very known to me, because I read bioaccumulation, I read biomagnification, but I did not study my persistent organic pollutants. So the known topic became a difficult topic for me. There is no student who goes to examination without understanding pollutants, without understanding what is the concept of bioaccumulation. But since I did not study this particular pollutant, which was actually highlighted by the government of India, I might end up doing this question wrong. So this is about the, I'll be teaching you a little also since you have come to this video. So these are the areas or sources of these. Have you not read टेफ्लॉन कोटिंग वाले बर्तनों में खाना बनाओगे तो वो अंदर भी जाएगा? They might be saying that you should cook your food in stainless steel utensils. In fact, government has issued an advisory to use stainless steel for deep frying and cooking. These are all the areas where you have the fast food packaging, especially thermocol based. They also have these pollutants. All those statements were correct, but I should at least have an idea what is PFAs and what are these persistent pollutants. So the idea is, I think I have made it clear what exactly should be your approach. If you find this helpful, you can find us on the Pulse series. I'll be taking the video lectures there. We'll be coming up with the current affairs also maybe in some time, but definitely with the Ignite series, in which we will be giving you the topic wise MCQs for the each topic. And you can also find us on these Telegram, WhatsApp and emails if you happen to have any problems. Have a very good day. All the best for your futures, and those who are giving prelims, do your best.